Hello everyone. You must be thinking, why are we looking at a Tesla app? Well, in this video, I'll talk about how I challenge myself to create a clone of the Tesla app, just for fun and just to learn a couple of things. Well, before I show you what I created, let's go take a look at the original Tesla app and then we'll come back to this one for comparison. Alright, so here's a look at the original Tesla app. As you can see, it's got the buttons and controls and all. So as I scroll up, you can see at the top the battery status and the park status, they kind of fade out. And the menu then slides under the top bar and it gets darker. Then the other effect that we see is, if you notice the background, it gets darker. It has a gradient effect on it, but as you scroll up, it gets darker. And then the third effect is that the battery status, I think it's in a parallax mode, so it slides slowly in comparison to the rest of the app. And here is a look at the version of the app that I created. So we've got the same kind of controls and everything, with subtle differences if you were paying attention. So the chevrons are a little bit smaller in my version, and as you can see, the location icon is different, and also the battery symbol is a bit different. I just did it on purpose, no other reason. So as I scroll up, you can see this over here is going to disappear and like that, and then your menu is going to slide under the top bar. And also, if you watch the background, it's gonna get darker. Now you might see these radial lines. That's because of the emulator, I think. If you run on this on an actual device, it's actually good. The colors are good. The other thing that happens is, as I scroll up, you can watch this one. It's gonna move up slowly with comparison to this, and this can be controlled through a multiplier. So this is using that parallax effect that we talked about. And as we scroll down, boom, it's come back. I just use my logo and just for fun. But other than that, yeah, I'm pretty happy how it came out. It was amazing. So now I'm just going to talk about the code and how I did it. So yeah, let's jump into it. All right, so now let's look at the code. So I have a main activity, and there's nothing in the main activity. Honestly, it's pretty simple. And what the meat of the project happens in the main fragment. So here is everything. I'll just come over here and open the layout as well, so we can take a look at that. So I'll go here and I'll say fragment main. So let's talk about the layout first. So what we have is the coordinator layout, and if you know coordinator layout, it's used it's pretty much as a super power, I guess, frame layout, and you can use this to coordinate between different layouts, I guess the name. We have an app bar layout, and within the app bar layout we have a collapsing toolbar, and then we have a material toolbar at the top. The collapsing toolbar is the one that actually does the magic for us and collapses this right here, these items. So what we do is we give it a scrim of transparent, because we want to just see through everything, and that's why we have a transparent over here. So the fun thing that happens is over here in the constraint layout, and we give this actually a collapsing mode of parallax, which is what you get when you move this. This will actually move slow, and then you can use this parallax multiplier, which is a value between 0 and 1. Now if we scroll down over here, we have a frame layout. In the frame layout, I have the picture of the Tesla, and the reason why I have this is it's a 3-layer thing. So I have a background, which is that gradient, then on top of that I have this frame layout, which is the car, and then I have this scrolling menu. And the reason why I did it this way is, if you don't do it this way, what will happen is when you scroll this up, then the car will scroll up with it, and that's not what we want. So that's why I put this in a separate frame layout, so that when I scroll the menu, it's going to scroll over top of this car, just like how they have in the original app. The other important thing that we need to do is, if I scroll up here and come here, if I come here to the collapsing toolbar layout, you can see I have the scroll flag set to scroll and exit under collapse. If you don't do that, what will happen is when you scroll this up, this menu is going to scroll under the collapsing toolbar, and that looks ugly, and this will also not scroll properly. So that's why we need to have these two flags. Very important. The rest, I guess you can look up the code if you're curious on my GitHub page. Now let's look at the actual Kotlin code here. So the menu, this menu, by the way, is just a recycle view right here, and then through an adapter I just pump in the menu So the icon and the title. That's pretty straightforward. And I guess the reason why I did this is in future, if you want to add or remove menus, this can come from a server and you can update the menu on the fly. So it's not hard coded. Now in the create view, what I do is, just like our binding, blah, blah, blah. All right, so I get a hold of my app bar, and the app bar is, here's the app bar. So I get a hold of that. And then what I do is I listen for the change listener, the offset change listener, and how much it has been offset in the V direction. It's a negative value, so I just multiply it by -1 because it's easy to work with positive numbers. And then I just see that if the offset is greater than the toolbar height, which is right here, and by some multiplier, then that means I need to dim the view and also need to do a bunch of other things. So to dim the view, all we do is do a transition. So the transition, actually, if I come here in the drawable, and then there should be a file called transition, if I can find it right here. So all this does is I have an empty square, that's the background, and then from this empty square I go to a gradient background with transparency. And if I come here to my drawable, then this is this one. So all this is just a gradient, a more darker version of this gradient, as you can see, with some transparency. So what this transition does is it will go from this square to this background, which gives you that effect that the background gets darker as you scroll up, as we've seen in the app. So that's what I do. I say start transition, and on my way down I actually reverse the transition with a duration of 500 milliseconds. Now the other thing that happens is as you can see the right here, if I go back, this text right here and then the battery thing, they fade in and fade out. So as I scroll up, what I do is I start an animation, I get the animation, and then when the animation is done, it's very important that you hide it. If you don't do that, what will happen is that after the animation is done, it's going to pop back up and that just looks ugly. So that takes care of that. So that's why I have this anim listener. And on the way down, I fade it in, and then you set the alpha back to 1 and all that thing. And then that animation is defined actually here, the fade in, fade out. So if I come here, fade in, I'm just saying in alpha, go from 0.8 to 1 with a 50 millisecond duration, and then the same here on the way up with a 200 millisecond duration. So this code will be on my GitHub page. If you have any questions or if you have any more requests, then please let me know, and I'll try my best to fill those in. So I hope you liked it. Please subscribe, because I have some I want to do something to this app. I might connect this to some hardware, and I'll share that video too. So yeah, bye for now.